Hi, everyone. We had a little challenge with our broadcast here, so I'm going to start completely over. Welcome to the GlobalLight broadcast. I'll take just a couple minutes to tell you what's going on here today because it's a very exciting day. We're broadcasting not only on our normal channels here at the website and through our streaming service, but we're also simultaneously broadcasting through YouTube as well as through Zoom. And we started using Zoom just recently, and probably next month, we'll actually have a short time where people can be able to ask questions live. So we'll be playing with that too. We're using the Zoom webinar system to be able to do that and to find out kind of new energies, to be able to bring community together. We're using this a lot more. Almost every month I plan to use this with the Light Masters, to bring the Light Masters together in a community, to be able to talk to not only me personally. We've always had a place where they could ask questions, and every month I go through these questions and emails that are sent in. This last month, we had 33 emails. So we're going to start doing that, not only reading the emails, but also doing some live so that other people that have questions about that email can even participate with that as well. In the meantime, today, if you watch it on Zoom, there's a link right above for both YouTube and Zoom. But if you're watching it on Zoom, we're just going to be able to, we're not going to answer any questions or anything else today. We're just kind of getting used to the whole systems. And of course, on YouTube, it is there. We have started the broadcast over, so I will go in and edit out that first part. We had a machine go down very quickly on us, and thanks to the staff who brought it to my attention. So welcome to the Virtual Light broadcast. And I said that intentionally. This is actually the last Global Light broadcast we're going to do. And we're still doing the broadcast. After Barbara passed away, we basically stopped doing the Virtual Light broadcast. We had celebrated 25 years of being in this energy and working with it. And we decided to start calling this the Global Light broadcast and do it toward the middle of the month instead of the end of the month. It wasn't working out too well. We really enjoyed being at the end of the month. It gives Allison, who does our astrology, she was getting all mixed up with where things were, and she was doing an awesome job of adjusting. But we went back to the end of the month, and now we're going back to the word Virtual Light broadcast. We actually own a trademark on that word, and we're going to go back to using it. It has always been in my heart as one of the most important pieces. So that's where we're doing. This will be the last Global Light broadcast. It'll still be in the same place. We're just going to change the names, change the name of the page and so forth. We're not going to send you to a different place or anything else. It's just too confusing. So welcome to the last Global Light broadcast. We're glad you're all here. And thanks for allowing me to make that mistake here. I'll keep an eye on that computer. But we had a little clicking noise this morning. I was talking to Nick, my webmaster, about it. And he just said, well, we're going to bribe the computer not to go down. It went down a little bit. So anyway, we're back. Thanks for being here with us. We're honored to be with you today. So much is going on. For those of you who were watching in Zoom, you know I started to talk about the portal. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to play a video that I pre-recorded yesterday talking about what is going on planet Earth. The group has some exciting information that we're here to work with. I do need to do, you know what, we got to do the karma checker all over again now. I had quite a lot before. We'll see how we do this time, okay? Oh no, nothing. That's why it's a karma checker. One more time. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that just means that if at first your reality is not what you want, do it again. How's that? We create our own reality. That's the opportunity of it. Now I got M&Ms all over my desk here. And of course, the bad part about this whole thing, as I said before, is that you can actually see how many M&Ms I've eaten since last month. Not too good, but anyway. Welcome today. We're very honored to have you here. I'm very excited. I'm trying to slow down a little bit because I don't want to talk too fast. But this portal is really exciting information. We're going to play the video in just a minute where I describe it. I didn't want to have to rely on my memory or notes or anything to do that, so I made a video yesterday. It will be up at the website as well for people that want to understand it. Last month, the group talked about in the channel here at the Global Light, they talked about two important dates in 2023, which were March 21st, or they just said in March, 24th. They said in March and also in August. Well, those dates have come through, and we got a whole lot of information of what's taking place. It's very exciting. A lot of the things that the group has talked about are all starting to manifest in this one event. And it's taking place between March and August, all through there. March 24th through August 27th, all the way through. We have a portal that is opening on planet Earth, a big one. It's not in a single location, it is all of Earth. It also has to do a lot with many of the other things the group's talked about as well, having to do with the 8 billion mark now being hit on planet Earth and all the rest of it. So, welcome today. I'm going to have a seat here and talk to you a little bit about that, and then we'll play this here in a minute. But like I said, we've got so many things taking place. I want to make sure to get all the information to you in the right way. And we'll keep an eye on everything here too. So those of you on Zoom that have worked with it, thanks for watching this. You started to watch this already. We'll bring you up to date. We have two channels today. The first one, not quite sure who's coming in. I know who's coming in on the second one. The second one will be the scientist of the heart, and he will be talking about the portal, no doubt. Whoever's coming in the first one, it's usually observer, but we don't know. In any event, well, I'll wait to see about that whole process and see what takes place. But welcome today. I am so honored to be here with you. Planet Earth is changing. It's changing very rapidly. There's a lot of challenges that are coming with that, which is why they want us to know about that, because people don't like change. It's pretty simple. Well, these can end up to be some absolutely wonderful events and things that are taking place. So let me start by telling you about the portal, then we'll come back and do the first channel. And we also have a brand new person joining us today for the first time. Juliana Raymond is going to be here with us, a light weaver who's been doing a tremendous amount of work all over the globe. We're honored to have her start doing a segment for us here. Typically, when we bring in a new person, we run it for 6 months. We want them to get used to it. We want us to get used to it. We want to see how you guys respond to it. So let us know. You can drop us a quick email, or you can simply write us. You can drop something into the help desk, which is that little button down at the bottom that says support. Just let us know what you think, because I'm very excited about this. Anyway, welcome aboard today. Welcome to the last Global Light broadcast here at Espavo. Now, let me play this for you. This is the portal, and this is all about the portal that's happening on planet Earth. Here we go. Hi, everybody. I want to bring you up to date on some very important information that the group has been talking about just lately. It's been some incredible information, and this is good news for the new game on planet Earth. You know, it was in January of 2023 that the group mentioned in the channel that there were going to be two very important dates in 2023. And they said one was toward the end of March, and the other was at the end of August. They didn't say anything more about it at that point. They said those two dates were going to be very critical dates and important for all of humanity. So let me take you to another few things the group's been saying too. They've also said that we were going to hit a critical mass at 8 billion people. When we had 8 billion people on the Earth herself was going to have to make some decisions as to how she could handle this, what was going to take place, whether she was going to start shutting down, or whether she was going to start changing and altering things to be able to support that many people. Also, if you were watching the news just recently, the people who've made the doomsday clock, I'm not too crazy about that whole concept, but they said the doomsday clock, they just made some adjustments. They take into consideration almost everything from politics to global warming to the conditions of the Earth, et cetera, et cetera. And they adjusted the clock and they said, we are now in the last 90 seconds of the doomsday clock. That's not too wonderful for all of us, but why is this good news? Well, I'll tell you. If you're familiar with the group's view of things, they basically say some interesting things. They say perfection is not ever allowed on planet Earth. You're an infinite being and you're perfect as a spirit. But when you come to Earth, you become finite and perfection simply isn't allowed. So what do? We hide our perfection in 11 different dimensions, having 11 different experiences simultaneously in different dimensions. Now that doesn't mean there's just 11 dimensions going on. There's infinite number of dimensions. But it means that you have 11 different yous. Some of them are more perfect in some areas and less perfect in the others. You know what you're really good at here and what you're not good at in this one here, but you don't necessarily know those other ones. Okay, with all these things going on, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. For those of you, and I'm giving you a whole bunch of wild pieces to stitch together, for those of you who've ever studied some of the fascinating things in the petroglyphs that we're showing behind you. Petroglyphs are all over planet Earth in many different places left by many of the Aboriginal tribes, and some of them thousands and thousands of years ago. These petroglyphs almost always contain one symbol, and that's the spiral. Again, the groups talked about the spiral. They talked about the spiral of the torus around our body, the fact that we live in a spiral world and a spiral universe. We think of our solar system as being stationary with the sun in the middle and everything flying around it, but we're in motion. And if you look at that path, it's a big spiral. It's fascinating to watch when you look at it from the group's perspective. So with this, that spiral behind us is actually a portal. And that's what they were trying to leave us messages about, that there were certain places on Earth that had portals and certain places in the sky. Sometimes these petroglyphs point toward the sky. Sometimes they point toward the Earth. Sometimes they point toward beings that are moving in and out of those portals. And for those of you who've studied UFOs, or now UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, which is the new name the US government has given it, basically you'll see these over and over and over again. So now that we've kind of tied a few of these things together, let me tell you what the group has just said. They said that there's a portal opening on planet Earth, and it's a big one. It's going to include the entire Earth and the surrounding areas, not just in one location. And that's a result of what is taking place after her reaching 8 billion people. And it's a pretty wild thing in many ways, but this one's actually going to open, and now they've given us the dates. The dates are March 24th of this 2023 through August 27th. There will be a rather large portal open where we can actually start connecting with our other dimensions of reality. In other words, we can become more perfect. And furthermore, if this portal stays open for that period of time and enough people raise the vibration enough, it stays open permanently. That's what we're looking for. And that's what the group's trying to go for here. So with all these things taking place, we wanted to let you know, and again, March 24th through August 27th is when this portal opens. And if we are able to raise vibration enough with all humans on planet Earth, we're liable to step up into a whole different world. And this is very, very, very exciting. Now, with this, what does it mean? What do we need to do? Well, we need to start becoming more perfect in many ways. We need to step up. Instead of just learning things, we need to put them into use. And we need to start stepping into our higher vibration right away, as much of that as we can. We know many of you have multiple teachers out there. Many of you have been taking courses in different things, and many of you with us. And we're going to put these into use, especially during this time. This is going to be a very critical time. Now, there's also going to be a lot of resistance to this. Groups made that real clear. There's going to be people that fight this. There's going to be a lot more turmoil. We're very liable to see some systems disintegrate that won't exist in the higher vibrations. It may be some of our systems having to do with finances. It may be some of our systems having to do with the way we do things, with our food deliveries. A lot of things that we've already start to see break down in different ways may start to crumble. And it may actually look like a difficult time in the very beginning. But it's also an opportunity for all of us to step up into higher vibrations. And if we do that, we start gaining more of our own perfection back. We become more perfect the same way we are as spirits, pretending to be human. Now we can carry more of our spirit and less of the physicality. And that's something the group's been talking about as well. It is time, and it's working. So here at Espavo, one of the things that we're going to do is we're moving into a whole new series of lessons, series of work online. It's going to be called the Human Lessons for the Spirit. How do we become a more perfect human? We're going to be talking about the bodysuits, not the physical body, but the bodysuits we wear on different occasions and how those things work. We're going to be working about transparent communication. How do we communicate with people no matter who they are, where they are? We're going to be talking about relationships, very important part of life, no matter what type of relationship you have. We're going to be talking about sexuality in many different levels. We're going to be talking about many of the things as fear. How do we deal with grief? How do we deal with all these aspects of a spirit pretending to be a human? This is all starting in March, and we welcome you to come join us. Also, hope you find your own teachers that you've been going with and step up into their higher vibrations as well, because it is time for all of us to step up. Again, these magical dates are March 24th through August 27th. This is the grand portal that is opening for all of planet Earth and all humans to be able to step into a higher vibration. Not just a single portal like these petroglyphs show, but a big one that encompasses all of planet Earth. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome home. Glad you're with us. Come join us, Espavo. And there you have it. Now you can see why I was pretty excited about all this. This is going to change a lot of directions, a lot of things that we do here on planet Earth, and a lot of other aspects of that as well. I can't wait to get started. We are going to go this next month in February. We've already determined that. We're going back into animal communication for the final piece of this entire series that we've been working with super consciousness. Only this time we're going to go into the spirit of animal communication. We're going into animal spirit communication. We'll be talking with animals that have been in our lives previously, that have passed on. We're going to be talking about future things. We're going to be talking about opportunities to create new connections with the animal kingdom itself. So come join us for those first 2 days of next month in February. And then in March, we start the human lessons. We'll have more information about that. They've been telling me about this for months, so I don't have it completely organized yet, but I will by next month. We'll have a lot more information about what we're going to be covering. And also, if you'd like to join Lightmaster, you'll not only get the entire series of the human lessons, but you'll also get to be a part of a very active group. And we're starting to get more and more active, especially now that we're coming together with Zoom and being able to talk amongst each other globally. It is a global group. We have people all over the globe in different ways. One of the things, by the way, in Zoom that I'm very excited about, one of the reasons we went here to be able to do this, is that you have the opportunity in Zoom to download, or not to download, just to turn on the captions. And you can turn on the captions to where they bring the captions to you, but they will now bring them to you in 14 different languages. So if you'd like to watch the live broadcast in Zoom, it's only the live ones, every month here in GlobalLight, Virtual Light broadcast starting next month, you'll be able to watch that with the translations into your own language. And from what I understand from the experience we've had with the Lightmaster so far, they said it's a pretty good translator. Now, also in the Lightmaster group, we're also going to be doing our live question and answers in the Zoom as well We do it in both, like we're doing it today. We'll not only have it on our regular broadcast systems, but so people can see it afterwards, but we'll also be doing it live in Zoom so people that want to interact can come join us here. It's a wonderful community of light. Right now, I'm going to go into the first channel and we'll get started today because we have a lot of wonderful things to talk about. Glad you're with us, everyone. Espavo. Thanks for being a part of the family. Greetings, dear ones. I am Merlia. I get to join you this marvelous day, for your planet is changing in a very magical way. And we'll tell you something we told the Keeper a very long time ago. Your planet's going to go through a lot of changes in your lifetime. It's part of the reason you all signed up to be here at exactly this moment. But the beautiful part about that is that you're on time. You made it. You're holding energy which will change everything. And what we'd like to do today is to connect with some of that energy, to bring that together, not only for your use, but also those around you. How do humans create an empowered society? Well, you did that in the days of Lemuria. You tried to do it, and you came very close in the days of Atlantis. But the interesting part about it, probably the easiest way to describe it, is that if you wish to live in an empowered society, empower the people around you. Find ways of working with them. Use the E factor, the empowerment factor. How do you honestly bring forth some of the best information, some of the best energies from everybody that's around you? For when you empower the people around you, suddenly you're not only empowered yourself, but you live in an empowered society. And now that the feminine energy is rising tremendously, yes, it's receiving resistance. All change will do that, as will this portal that is beginning to open. But there's so much more about that. The scientist of the heart will discuss that when he comes in a little bit. But right now, we'd like you just to hold hands, to connect one heart to the other, to work with bringing this energy through you. Each of you are magicians in your own right. And by holding this energy together, you ground the light in a very magical way. So let's begin right there. Take a deep breath. Let your eyes close if you wish. And just find your center for a moment. Feel the balanced energy of planet Earth coming all around you. The magic has begun. Accept it in and know that your time has come here on Earth. It's a magical space that you have created yourselves. Now, with all the hands being held, let's hold open the healing circle. We will surround this whole place right now in a time bubble, so that people coming in later will be able to join in exactly the same energy that you're in right now. Even if they're not watching it live, you can watch this later as well and still be a part of this collective vibration. Excellent. So take a deep breath and just for a moment, put aside all your thoughts of the day. Put aside all the pieces that you've been worried about, or the things that you're going to do later in the day, or all the other challenges you have in your life right now. You can pick them up later if you so choose. Excellent. Now, for those of you who wish healing, for those of you who have a challenge that you'd like some help with, whatever it is, wherever it is. And we're talking about work with you, not work with someone else, but things that directly affect you. If you'd like to, step forward into the healing circle. And just step forward, just take a quick step in. It's a rather large circle, and there's room for everybody. Good. Now take a breath and just open your heart for a moment. While all those around the outside of the circle start opening their heart and sending love, pure love energy into that circle. The challenge is for all of your brethren, no matter where they are, no matter what language they speak, no matter what their belief systems, you are all human beings. Your spirits pretending to be human, and as such, empowering each other becomes the way to create this incredible society. So open your unconditional love to that circle right now and beam it in. Excellent. Now take a deep breath. For those of you inside the circle, let the tears flow if they wish. Feel that light beaming all through your body, opening channels and opening doors within your heart. Many of you will receive outside influences as you step forward into the day. You'll see opportunities showing up. You'll see people that want to help. You'll see changes within your own physical being if that's what you're working on. The time is here for you to come home while you're still on Earth. And that is the portal that's opening. It's a magical time to be here, and your space has been reserved. Your name was on that chair before you ever thought about coming to planet Earth. Most of you have been here multiple times, working on the societies in different ways. Some of you just holding the incredible love that is needed, that the Earth uses to create this sacred space that you are in. These are great times, dear ones. Welcome home. We are honored to be with you. And with that now, we will lead you into the rest of the day. At the end of this event, the scientist of the heart will come in and explain about the portal that's opening, what that is, and the incredible opportunities that every single human have. It's a magical time to be on Earth. Welcome home. You're creating magic where you sit right now. Thank you for being there. Thank you for honoring your commitment to not only be on Earth, but to be a part of the change that's taking place. Welcome home, dear ones. Welcome home. With that, I leave you for now. But I'm never far away. The feminine is balancing the energy now on planet Earth in magical ways. But not because of us, because of you. Because of your willingness to hold that energy and to make it so. You have opportunities of greatness. Let your spirit shine. Let that spirit be seen every time you laugh, every time you smile, every time your eyes sparkle with the light from home. Well done, dear ones. And with that, we'll now take you through the rest of the experience of the global light. Welcome home. So with the greatest of honor, I ask you to treat each other with the highest respect possible. Nurture one another and make space for everyone. Don't forget to play well together as you create this new game. I am Merlia, the feminine energy of Merlin. And I love you dearly. Come up and see me sometime. Aspavo.
Hello and welcome back to my personal Bookworms segment. Now, before I reveal this month's bookworm, I have a question for you. And as I ask it, I want you to pay close attention to how your body and your mind immediately respond to it. And notice any constriction or any thoughts that come into your mind. So, here we go. How do you feel about money? Do you love it, hate it, fear it? Find yourself getting tied up in knots whenever you think about it? It's a funny thing about money, but it wields enormous power over us. But what if we've all got it wrong? What if we all, even those who seem to be the most successful at accumulating it, completely misunderstand what money really is? Now, at this point, you might be wondering, how did a book about money become one of Sandy's bookworms? When you know that money, that filthy old lucre that is claimed to be the root of all evil, has no place in a no BS spiritual book club, right? Wrong. Over the years, I've interviewed and worked with several experts teaching about the consciousness of money. And while all have their individual approaches and their merits, I have to say that I've always felt there was some intangible something missing. I couldn't fully engage. Then about 2 years ago, I was introduced to Sarah McCrum, and everything fell into place for me. Because I soon realised that no one knows money better than Sarah does. Well, she ought to. She's been talking to money for years. And money is always eager to answer her. And that's why people are flocking to her Consciousness of Money seminars and her courses. Sarah's been an energy coach for more than 20 years. She works with and helps leading entrepreneurs, conscious business owners, individuals, game changers, etc., master their personal energy and transform their relationships with money. She first started talking to money when she had none, which is probably the best time to start talking to money, I imagine. But she was shocked when money started talking back to her. Her subsequent dialogues with money changed everything for Sarah, and for many others too, including me. Sarah's book, Love Money, Loves You, which reads as if it was actually written by money, has more to do with higher consciousness than many of the books currently filling the spiritual bookshelves, in my opinion. So, money is a powerful, generous and loving energy. How do you feel about that? Do you believe it? Most people don't. But then most people don't know money's secret. They only know what they heard from their parents, ministers, teachers, and the media growing up, which too often was distorted by their conditioning and their beliefs and experiences with money. And when anxiety, awareness, and fear are the most common responses associated with the word, that's when we start developing tense and even hostile relationships with it. But when you understand money's secrets, the fear, tension, and the misunderstandings melt away. Reading Love Money, Money Loves You was for me like having my own dialogue with money. The book shares so many clear and simple but life-changing insights into how the energy of money operates behind our physical world. It cuts right through the heady stuff and all of the woo-woo stuff as well that we hear about money, and instead it approaches this topic from a profoundly different place by taking us straight back to the heart and showing how love and money are interlinked in ways that we never imagined. It reveals what happens when we make any financial request. It explains why so many people struggle with the lack of money. And it also reveals how when we experience guilt, fear or worry about our finances, that creates an energy field around us that actually directly repels money's powerful energy. The book also tells us how to connect directly with the energy of money so that we can tangibly feel its presence. And the best bit is that it provides clear, simple guidelines on how to transform your beliefs about and your relationship with money so that you can be aligned with the way it works naturally. The book also includes 2 blueprints for making money in today's world, which is very useful. Sarah's conversations with money and money's answers have radically shifted my perceptions, most of which I was aware I'd inherited from my mother. The book really did break through the resistance that I hadn't even known that I constructed, and still are unravelling patterns within me that have been in place since childhood. Money's answers to the questions we've all asked at one time or another really did slip straight past my intellect to be processed by my gut, which is my yardstick and my compass, if you like. My gut vibrated with the resonance of the truth that Sarah shares, which is that love and money actually are the same energy. The book truly is a profoundly spiritual book, one that could radically shift your perceptions, unravel your misconceptions, and transform your life and your consciousness in one read. But hey, words can never compare to personal experience, can they? So here's where you can get your personal experience. The URL below, type it into your browser and it'll take you to Sarah McCrum's Bookworms page on the No BS Spiritual Book Club website, where you can download 4 chapters of an excerpt from the book, and you can also listen to the short Money Speaks audio that Sarah kindly gifted to my subscribers. When you've done that, I want you to ask yourself these questions. How much better would your life work if you had a better relationship with money? What would you do differently if you weren't worried or stressed about money? What would you create? What would become possible for you if you stopped thinking about money with fear and anxiety and had a relationship that was founded on love, abundance, and generosity? And finally, if you could talk to money, what would you ask it? Now, after you've asked yourself these questions, go visit sarahmccrum.com, click on the gold button on her homepage, and find out what money wants to say to you. Love Money, Money Loves You by Sarah McCrum provides answers to all of our questions about money and about love for money itself. And I really recommend reading this book. It is a game changer. And then when you've read it, send me an email and tell me about all the changes that you've started noticing in your life. Again, the book is Love Money, Money Loves You by Sarah McCrum, and it's available from her website and from all online bookstores. Now, one more thing before I leave you. If you find these book suggestions useful, check out the 10 best spiritual books ever growing library on the No BS Spiritual Book Club website, and look at some of the interviews that I've done with over 120 contributors over the past 2 years. And I think you'll find some really inspiring recommendations for your next life-changing read. That's it for this month. I'll be back again next month with news of another standout book that has what it takes to actually make its way into my very special Sandy's Bookworms list. I'll see you there.
Hello, Lightweavers. For those unfamiliar with me, I am Juliana Raymond. I'm a fellow Lightweaver, an author, an energy sensitive, a wisdom teacher, and an alternative practitioner. I have been researching the energies that help us navigate our human experience for many years. Today, I'm going to take you on a magical journey of healing to help you resolve conflict without any physical confrontation. And if you're like me, I hate confrontation. Years ago, I commissioned a Native American elder to take me to the shaman's cave in Sedona. During our journey, he taught me about the magic of the medicine wheel. We're going to create your own medicine wheel right now through meditation. This will be a lifetime resource for you to come to at any time you want to resolve conflict without face-to-face physical confrontation. Once I've given you the initial meditation, you can change the location or just use this visualization to converse with your guides in the future. At the end of this meditation, I will tell you how you can download a longer MP3 version. So get comfortable. Close your eyes. I want you to take in a deep, cleansing breath through your nose, and I want you to expel the air through your mouth and get ready to be transformed. Something has been troubling you. You're experiencing conflict with someone you'd like to resolve an issue with. You're walking through a field of daisies. Up ahead, you notice the edge of a forest. As you walk towards the forest, you notice a path leading through the trees, and you feel compelled to follow it. As you enter the forest, you can hear the birds chirping and feel a breeze dash across your face. You smell the scent of pine boughs, and off to your right, you can hear the gurgle of a creek. Ahead, you notice a shaft of light streaming through the forest canopy. As you get closer to the light, you notice a complete circle defined by stones. In the center, there is a log you can sit upon. This is your sacred space. Nothing can harm you here. You enter the circle and sit on the log, marveling at the peacefulness you feel. But something is bothering you, and you're looking for resolution. If you like, you can call in your guides to join you as you prepare to call the individual you're experiencing conflict with to join you. You will want to observe the body language and the facial expressions of the individual you summon. This will tell you much about their mood. You can converse with this individual or ask them to remain silent as you detail your grievances. Now call out to the individual to meet with you. They must come when summoned, but they must stay on the outside of your sacred space. You will be conversing with their higher consciousness. Take a moment now to begin your conversation. Tell the individual how you feel, perhaps how they've hurt you, and what resolution you may be seeking. I'll be back in a moment to collect you. Begin to end your conversation. Thank the individual for coming. Motion them to depart as you now notice a bridge crossing the creek to your right. Watch them cross the bridge, and as they get to the center of the bridge, they turn and look, as if to ponder your conversation. Continue to watch them until they disappear into the forest on the other side. You now rise to exit your medicine wheel and return down the path you entered in the forest. You feel lighter, as if the burden has been lifted. The air seems fresher. The birds seem to be chirping louder, as if to send a signal that resolution will soon be at hand. As you reach the edge of the daisy field, you notice the flowers dancing to and fro. You find yourself skipping effortlessly through the field, taking in a fresh breath of air. You feel the warmth of the sun and relish in the gentle breeze that dances through the air. Take in a deep breath now, in through your nose, expelling the breath out through your mouth. Open your eyes and know your sentiments have been heard. Don't discount how powerful this meditation can be. You've provided a declaration to your spiritual team to begin resolution, and resolution will be at hand. A longer version of this meditation, along with many other programs, can be found through my website, JillianaRaymond.com. That's JILLIANA Raymond, RAYMOND.com, including access to an entire free podcast series, Life is a Spiritual Soup. This can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever fine podcast series can be found. You will find many additional ongoing healing webinars, the books I've written, and upcoming conferences. Now I believe Steve is about to return, so back to Steve.
Thank you, Juliana. Awesome work, awesome work. Hope you enjoyed that. I know many of you on Zoom are not hearing the music. Music just simply does not go over Zoom. We're not going to worry about it, but you will have difficulties with the intros and outros we use, and sometimes music that is played in different ways. Okay, we've got a lot going on here today. I'm going to bring you Meg Adamson next, so enjoy the journey, everybody.
Hi everybody. So nice to be here with you again this month. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Here we go. So this month what I want to talk about with you is more in depth about the subconscious mind and what it does, but more importantly, how illness equals communication. And we're going to pull it all apart and put it back together like we normally do if you've been watching my segments for a while. So how does this all work? Let's talk about the manifestation of your beliefs and what that actually means in your body. So the subconscious mind has access to, it governs over your body, right? That's what it has access to. And it creates, because it is always listening, it creates dominant beliefs to keep you safe, to move you towards pleasure and away from pain. It's constantly listening. It's learning through repetition. Once it learns, it's got it, just like when you learned how to ride a bike. If you've ever had a time where you've been driving home and you don't quite even remember the drive, you just pull into your driveway and think, I don't even really remember driving home. Your subconscious mind drove you home. It knows the route. Its job is to keep you safe. It's always governing over your body. That includes a stress response as we shift into sympathetic drive if we perceive danger, as well as the opposite, shifting into parasympathetic drive. It controls all of these processes in your body that either make you healthy and well and vibrant and positive, or starts to break down, becoming unwell, becoming ailments. Now, why is that? How does that connect back to our beliefs about ourselves? Well, here's how. The subconscious mind will communicate with you when there is an incongruency within. So those dominant beliefs. So let's talk about negative beliefs, all right? Because most of us, when we're having a wonderful day, we don't sit down and journal and we don't try to figure out what's going on. We enjoy it. We expand into it. But when we're feeling negative, we start to look, we start to investigate, or we can feel overwhelmed. We can deny and put it aside. I just don't want to deal with it. Collectively, personally, this is just personal, this is not based on scientific evidence, but my personal feeling is that collectively we are going through a grief collectively, right? We've never really come back from pandemic, lockdown, recession, inflation. There's just so much happening all the time that there's this collective grief under the surface, subconsciously, collectively, that we're starting to really feel in our bodies, and we have to manage ourselves well. So it's okay to feel it, but you got to investigate it. And here's the piece that we don't learn. We don't learn as children in school. We don't learn what our subconscious mind is and how important it is what we say yes to and what we say no to. That what we take in as authority becomes programming for us later. Now, if that programming is negative, it is not congruent with the non-linear version of ourselves, that expanded version of ourselves, right? We have this extension that's physical, that's living a linear life. We eat, we sleep, we watch the world, we take in data, we associate it against what our opinions and beliefs are that we've formed over decades, and this is all in linear time. But there's also that wiser, that higher self, that higher being, that access to all that is, that part of us that we all know where intuition comes from, where that deep layer of unity consciousness that we believe in, that peace that just feels so true for us in our heart, that we can be thriving, that we can live a joyous, healthy, linear experience while staying connected to the non-linear truths of who we are. And science and religion have been debating that for centuries, but it's what's true for you. So let's take it back to the beginning. We have a negative emotion. That's the first knock from the subconscious mind. We have something that we're believing here that is not congruent with this non-linear version, and it knows who you truly are. Why? Because it stores all of your memories. Now, if you believe in reincarnation, if you believe in that karmic wheel, if you believe that we have more than one lifetime, then that's a lot of memories in your subconscious mind. And it knows every cell that formed you. It knows every experience that you've had. It knows who you truly are. And so when you start believing something limiting that is not congruent with who you truly are, you've got a conflict. And that conflict becomes a negative emotion. That's the first knock. If we don't do anything to resolve that inner conflict, if we just bury it, if we try to talk ourselves out of it consciously, if we get into a loop of it's somebody else's fault and they have to change their behavior, it's the world's fault, we have to change every system, whatever you fill in the blanks with, that means you are not okay until a set of conditions are met, then we don't resolve the conflict. And it will escalate. So what happens? It continues. Second knock is physical response. We start to feel unwell. We start to feel off. We start to feel like we don't have that same energy flow. We start to feel maybe tired or foggy or just disinterested or sad. Fill in the blank. Second knock. We've got beliefs here that are compounding now that do not match the nonlinear version of who you are, who I know you to be. What would you like me to do with this? It's a conversation, right? As your body is feeling what it's feeling, your emotions are feeling what you're feeling. This is a conversation you are having with your subconscious mind, but nobody taught you that. So what happens next if we don't resolve the conflict? Ailments, progression to illness. So does that start to make sense that it would be logical that that's reversible? Of course, because your subconscious mind knows every cell that created you. It knows how to heal you. But you have to be on board, right? Its job is to keep you safe. Your dominant beliefs are what governs it. So it's going to take those negative incidences from when you were younger, or when you were bullied, or when you were scared, or when you experienced trauma, not making light of any of those things, but it's going to take all of those experiences and keep them dominant to keep you safe. But it's also going to let you know, hey, this is my job, I'm trying to keep you safe, but this is not who we really are. What do you want me to do with this? And it's going to keep projecting from that dominant negative belief, and you're going to continue to perceive the world that way, and how you are feeling and how you are thinking and feeling, emotional feeling, not conscious analyzing, emotional feeling, internal deep feelings, the ones that nobody really posts on socials, because everybody's supposed to be perfect in the world. Everybody's supposed to be a stick figure with perfect skin and perfect muscles and never age and all the other nonsense that's out there has got people feeling like they can't truly share. It's not safe. And so we tend to hide, right? We don't want to tell others what's really going on with us, because then somehow we feel like we failed, or we should be somewhere else, right? Hear all the negative compounding going on in that. So the subconscious mind takes it, groups all that together and says, all right, then we can't go do that job, or be around those people, or be in a successful relationship, or make enough money, or do any of the things that make us happy in each of these quadrants that we have beliefs about them. I'm going to sabotage that because those cause pain. And so now we are living in this sabotage cycle while our bodies are continuing to break down, our emotions are continuing to spiral. But we have to really look at that and see, is that starting to ring a bell? Is that starting to make sense? So the subconscious mind is having a conversation with us. We have to learn how to communicate back. That was the beauty of hypnotherapy for me. Clinical hypnotherapy is being able to discern that blueprint that's different for everyone and work it backwards. Where did it come from? And how do we bring that back into alignment with that nonlinear version of you? So really through hypnosis and through hypnotherapy, we navigate between these two worlds and viewpoints, garnering information that's specifically yours for what you've experienced in your life. And we reframe that linear landscape. We learn how to reprogram through the use of the skills and capabilities of the subconscious mind to reprogram the conscious mind, so that we have a congruency between linear and nonlinear. When we have that congruency, the subconscious mind collapses those negative beliefs. They become positive dominant. We project from that positive dominant. When that match takes place, this is the true nature of healing. This is what joy and happiness and self-love and self-worth and freedom look and feel like. So our body conditions are connected. They're an extension of our subconscious dominant beliefs. Because the subconscious has millions of memories, but it's the dominant beliefs that create our life experiences. So if you're not living and feeling how you want to be living, how you want to be feeling, that needs to be explored. And you can't get there if you're in a loop consciously of looking at the world and seeing what's wrong with it and pointing fingers and staying in that loop of judgment. You cannot push against that and somehow make your subconscious mind's terrain positive dominant. That's not a match. So I want to talk about the ability of finding that blueprint, how that actually works. How do we begin to decipher the messages? Because that is also quite fascinating. Things aren't random, not in my experience, not from the hundreds of clients that I have worked with thus far. It is always from the subconscious communication, that programming, a direct match to the beliefs. And so we can start to connect those dots. There's a blueprint there that I'm always listening for. So I want to share with you a client that I've been working with. I always, when I talk about a client, have been given express permission to do so. So I've been working with this client, and she has been experiencing these skin rashes that break out on her chest. They're quite painful at times. They cause body shivers. They ooze. So they're really, really uncomfortable. And she's a very wise lady. She has sought out a lot of alternative help, naturopathic help, and so forth. She's got her medical team chosen. And they've been doing all kinds of things with diet and elimination, looking at food allergies and intolerances, and she's done a lot of work there. So really putting in a lot of efforts. And yet, as much as there has been success, they have never fully resolved. So she came to me. And what we started to look at when we began our work together, because what we think consciously is very different from what is revealed when we're in hypnosis, from the subconscious terrain. And so we started to really see and discover that there was two major patterns running in her life, subconscious beliefs that became very aware through our work together. And the first was that she had recollections from childhood of just not getting it here, not belonging here, just a planetary internal knowing of, I just don't seem to fit into this world. I'm never really comfortable in my own skin. Hear it. Right? And how many times do we walk around saying things? This is what I want you to be thinking about. What do I say? And my subconscious mind is always listening. Even though it might be a slang or a joke, if there's a hint of truth underneath it and you're saying yes to it, everything you say yes to goes into your subconscious mind. I want you to be thinking about that, because we say things all the time about our well-being. We make jokes at our own expense. We can be a little edgy or judgy with people. And underneath that, there's a feeling, an internal feeling of lack or comparison. We can say things off the cuff. Oh, you know what? That's just killing me. Every time we do that, this job is killing me. Hear it? Right? So that was the first pattern for her. I just don't even feel I don't remember ever feeling comfortable in my own skin, she said to me. Not thinking skin rashes, not making that correlation, just childhood experiences. And the second was about personal power. It was about food, not being able to make her own food choices. She didn't get to choose. She was overridden each time by one of her parents because she was young. Don't eat that, you have to eat that. Who remembers you can't leave the table until you finish what's on your plate? I remember that. And there were things that I just did not want to eat. My body was a strong no. And guess what? I don't tolerate them today. They are not on my food list. So your body knows something and it's trying to help you. But when you're young, you're not the authority figure in the room. And it's no fault of parents because they're just doing what they think is best, what they learned, either how their parents projected onto them or how, society. Look at all the conversations about food pyramids now and how outdated they are and how unhealthy they are. And there's all this new availability, but you have technology now that makes it available to you at your fingertips. We didn't, our parents didn't. So you learn through a book, You learn through a daytime talk show. You learn through something that was taught in school, or how your parents, most of the time, how your parents raised you. So she was overridden. Her innate intelligence was overridden, which just compounded I'm just not comfortable. I don't know what to do. That turned into, I don't know what to do then. Tell me what to do because I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to displease you. Tell me what I need to do. And so at that point, we can start to connect the dots that these two pathways collided together. So the subconscious mind is saying, I've got a belief here, a linear belief that does not match the non-linear version of who you are. And it manifests perfectly as skin rashes. Comfortable in your own skin, food choices. What happens? The whole process that she goes through hypnotherapy to bring back the congruency between those two linear and non-linear versions of herself, you start to see the perfection and the brilliance of the subconscious mind using the skin rashes as the route back to her finding the truth about who she really is and her own ability to trust herself and her wisdom. And that feels like relief. That feels like truth. That feels like a whole new path forward. And as you understand what the subconscious mind is trying to teach you through your condition or illness, it then releases the dominant programming. It then you can release what's physically manifesting in your body because you've understood the message. Is that starting to make sense? So, is it all just a quick fix in hypnosis? No, of course you have to do your due diligence with your medical team and your diet and so forth. But if they don't reach the understanding of the emotional beliefs, the false truths that are at the subconscious level, you don't get the resolution. It just continues to come back. Is that starting to make some sense? We deal with something, it comes back. We deal with something, it comes back, or it comes back in another way, or it compounds and it spreads. The subconscious mind is not your enemy. It is constantly trying to keep you safe and trying to communicate with you through what it governs. It governs your body. I thought that was fascinating and worth sharing in a segment to have you think about your personal experience. Now, this isn't just for illness. This segment was based on that. But I want you to think about the truth in that. What are you telling yourself? What are you believing? What are you carrying around that's such an automatic response? Because it's been there for decades and it's sneaky. It feels like you. Those opinions and beliefs feel like truth to you, but they need to be investigated. If you're not healthy, if you're not feeling well, if you're not earning well, if you're not happy in your relationship, if you're dissatisfied, if you're feeling sad, if you're looking at the world and feeling that collective grief. In my opinion, we're in a process of grief collectively, and no one's talking about it really. Individually, we all have to manage our conversation with ourselves well. Our relationship to ourselves is the most precious and sacred and most important ever, before any capability of relationship with others. And collectively, we've gone through a pandemic and a lockdown. The world has changed. Everyone wants to talk like it's back to normal. It's not back to normal. Everyone's looking at inflation and recession. There is this underlying collective grief of the world has changed, and I don't know if it's ever going back. And that can become very profound negative programming. Yes, things have changed, but you can thrive in it. You can find ways that work for you. There is a path forward for you that non-linear part of you knows. So, for example, right before the solstice, I had COVID and I was sick for 2 weeks. I had to reschedule a whole week of clients, which I really don't like to do. And then there was a week of vacation I booked off. And yes, you get to rest. But the true gift was the ability to take some deep self-nurturing time. Really be able to see the path forward for myself, for my business, for what I want in 2023. How my body is feeling, what it needed. There was such a deep dive into hypnosis and into rest, into that inner landscape that we never make time for. We make a little bit of time for. And that was really, really important for me to just dive deeply into that and then come out the other side, beginning the new year, fresh, clear, rested. Looking at all of this information coming through for this segment was all part of the pondering that I went through in that 2-week process. Because our bodies are talking to us every day, but we have been so conditioned and trained to not listen to it. And as you begin to listen to that knock on the door, I want you to start to consider what your subconscious mind is trying to tell you. What your old beliefs are that you're still carrying around. And it doesn't mean those things didn't happen, but if you're carrying them around today as part of your self-identity, it is an act of self-sabotage. Because those things aren't still happening to you. You are reliving them every day, so your subconscious mind is responding like it is happening to you every day. And that will create a very strong knock. And now we've got an incongruency that needs to be reconciled because it's not the truth about you. And it was really interesting because I was just reading the other day that there is, I'm doing this from memory, so I might not get this 100% right, but there is a TikTok video that's gone viral and they're calling it lucky girl syndrome. And apparently this young woman came out, and this was on, the Today Show, so mainstream media, and I love that, talking about Neville Goddard, talking about the law of assumption. Assuming everything will work out for you starts to change what's working out for you. And so this young woman, and I loved seeing this, that she was, in her 20s, and she started talking about how she just started to think that she was lucky. Just as a gag, her and a friend talking about manifestation, talking about our creator abilities, and started to play around with things just work out for me. And then things started to work out for her. She won some money, I think, not a big amount, but I think she won some money, or her boyfriend did. She started noticing new opportunities were showing up, and she started really looking at this like there is something to this. And so she said, I'm going to say this every day now. I'm convinced that everything just works out for me. Everything always works out for me. So I want you to consider both the lighter side. Start telling yourself every day, everything works out for me. Everything just always works out for me. And when you don't believe it, feel into that. Feel into how fun it is to say it and what stops you from believing it. And that's where your conversation starts. What stops you? Because of, and that's not, and isn't that light because, all those judgments that come in that feel like they're justified and vindicated. And see, that's a loop. That's a setup. That's just a never-ending conscious loop that will continue to produce the results where you are right now. Make that connection today. I need to start to change what I believe. And I need to stop talking myself out of what I want and the capabilities that I have. Because every single person on this planet is here to contribute to the path collectively that we have going forward. And with that, I will say thank you ever so much. Back to you in the studio. Have a wonderful rest of the show, and I'll see you next month. Bye for now.
Hi, everybody. I want to give you a quick Lightmaster report, bring you up to date on what's taking place in Lightmaster. We're moving very quickly now in Lightmaster. We are working with all this portal information and bringing in all the information about the human lessons for a spirit. But on top of that, we're moving into other areas as well. We're working with dimensionality. We're working with a lot of things even outside of that. We're doing quite a bit of global work with this. But we're also having a lot of fun. I want to tell you some about the things we're doing just to let you know what's taking place with Lightmaster. Number one, we started a music list. I mentioned to people, the group started talking about music, and they said that, nowadays we're seeing so many male singers, singing in falsetto or with very high ranges. They actually said that this has to do with the feminization of the planet, and that it's taking place with a whole lot of people. Well, I'm going to share one of my favorite with you. And what has happened here is we've started actually working with sharing music in Lightmaster on the Q&A day, on the day where people can write into their questions and answers. And we started sharing music back. We have a ton of it. We have our first 2 Spotify lists, which we have shared with people. But we're also going to be sharing music on YouTube as well, so you can see the videos. But the one that started the whole process was right here. The name is Syml, S-Y-M-L. This particular album, called Sacred Spaces, was recorded at St. Mark's Cathedral. St. Mark's must have the perfect acoustics because many musicians go there. And I believe he actually recorded it elsewhere, but then he came back and recorded it in St. Mark's. Hauntingly beautiful. But besides the music being beautiful and his voice being incredible, he's an incredible poet and is able to use the English language in an incredible way. I highly recommend this album and the one Fear of Water. The interesting thing about this album is it's all about grieving. He lost his wife or his girlfriend. And this entire album is about different stages of that grief that he's going through and different things that he felt. Absolutely beautiful on so many different levels. And I wanted to share it with everybody here too. Once a month, I will bring in one of the many, because we probably had almost 75 different videos and music suggestions this month alone. So I'm going to bring one of those in here to the Global Light broadcast, the Virtual Light broadcast every month. And that is one of them here. With Lightmaster, by the way, you can join us at any time. We don't have specific start dates. Because you can jump in while we're in motion, we actually have created the Lightmaster entry library. And here you go when you first come in. If you're not familiar with all the things we're talking about, this is where you can go and catch up. And you can find out what we're talking about here, what we mean by multidimensionality and what we mean by the scattershot exercise and the infinity eyes exercise, and many of the things that we're doing along those lines. So we've opened it up and you can join Lightmaster at any time. And of course, if you join at any point, you also get the first 2 days, which are just the focus days. That's where we're going to be presenting these human lessons for the spirit. So come join us in Lightmaster, everybody. Welcome home. Aspavo.
Hi everybody, it's time for some astrology. My name is Alison Chester-Lambert. I'm a psychological astrologer and I'll be talking you through the month of February. Okay, now I don't think this is going to be the most happy and positive little video that I've made in recent years, and I've thought about this and I thought, what shall I do? Shall I colour it all up and shall I fantasize about potentials that I don't see, or shall I just say it like it is and then you can go, okay, well, let's make the best of it. I think it's always best to be honest and call that spade a spade personally, and so that's kind of what I'm going to do. But I will include the stuff that is good to do at this time of the year. So but don't expect it to be happy, chatty. So I don't think we're looking at that. Okay. So, I think actually, to give some background to this, we need to go back over those COVID years. Hopefully not, let's not dwell too long on them, because oh no. But I just want to just think for a moment about what happened in those 2 years, year and a bit. Because I think we missed out on a lot of our social or friendship abilities. And I think that has left us scarred as communities. I think we are out of balance in some respect. We have missed 2 years of intimate friendship, close chats, girly talks, this kind of thing. And also, we mustn't forget that for quite a bit of it, we had this sort of sword of Damocles hanging over our necks, over our heads. Sorry, we might get too close to somebody who might inadvertently kill us if we were going to listen to what we were watching on the TV. And this, I think, has given us as scars, but and deep fears, but very subliminal. I don't think we realise quite the effect on us. I think we are more subdued and afraid than we gave ourselves credit for. And I think we are still suffering some of the psychological baggage, the emotional hang-ups. And I don't want to take anything away from that. I am a psychological astrologer after all, so I am sort of driven to bring in the collective psychology. And what I see really for February is it's a place which lacks interpersonal skills or interpersonal gifts. Let me just explain something. So in my astrology, we've got 3 layers of relating. We've got personal, which is just me, myself, I. And then we've got interpersonal with you and one other. Usually these type of relationships are romantic, but they can be just best friends or me and the dog. And then we've got transpersonal, which is beyond the personal. So it's you're into football crowds, or you're into getting on a rocket and going to the moon. We're into bigger structures. So going to university, for instance, or going on holiday, that kind of stuff, where you're out of your comfort zone and there's not that many sort of intimate people around you. You may have gone with some, in which case great, but if you tend to go on your own, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so in February, we have in the sky a lot of emphasis on the transpersonal and the personal, but not the interpersonal. And the sky is once again split. All the planets are on one half of the sky. So every day as the Earth turns, there is a reminder that the transpersonal, so the stuff you can see on your television, and the personal are all you've got at the moment. The interpersonal is not really focused on. It's not a time where those skills are freely given to everybody who feels like they want to get cozy with someone. And it's likely that we don't understand people on an interpersonal level as well, that we don't get what he or she is talking about, and that we feel personally hurt by what they're saying. We can't somehow tune in to their thinking. We've not got the radio tuned in to have an interpersonal conversation. The radio is tuned in for the football match or the television or anything else, attending a university, bigger stuff, big conglomerate companies, this kind of stuff. And so therefore the skills are lacking. They're not in the toolbox for us. They're not available for February. This, under normal circumstances, in normal years, is not out of the ordinary. Happens quite a bit actually in February. We've got a lot of the transpersonal signs being focused on at this time of the year. But it comes at a time when we are already carrying shadow stuff, when we already have psychological baggage from the person I next meet in the street could potentially inadvertently kill me. And that means there is some dark material there that is a hook for us to hang February onto. The fact that the skills aren't there, that we harbour these fears that we thought were okay. And so I think we really do need to be very mindful and careful and nurturing of ourselves for February. Give ourselves a break. Give ourselves an understanding, and not expect the interpersonal, so the significant other, to be able to come in and comfort in what essentially is a barren desert, because it's not their fault. They're feeling it too. What we might want to do is blame somebody else, the significant other. The significant other might also be aware of a barren emptiness and might think it's our fault. We need to understand that those interpersonal relationships can't help us at this time. I'm sorry about the dog barking. As you know, I've got at the moment 6 rescue cats and 2 rescue dogs. So the chances of me getting an alone time where I can talk to you without one of them interfering, or last time it was Cleo last time, wasn't it, the cat? The chances are nil. We'll just have to, I've got dogs and cats, and and there we go. And they're all disabled. I only have the disabled ones because nobody else wants them, and I think they're lovely, so we'll just ignore her. Anyway, so going back to the personal. So yeah, there is some personal, there is some suggestion of that in the sky. So it's more what you can give yourself and less what somebody else can give you, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, what idiot put Valentine's Day in the middle of this? Every time I look at Valentine's Day, I go, what? Somebody was joking, right? And do you know, I think because astrology was really such an important subject when all these days were being decided in the early days of Christianity. And I think actually astrologers did have a hand in saying the sky is never particularly loving at this time of the year. And so let's have a day for loving, just to remind ourselves what it's supposed to be like. That makes sense to me. So now the idiot, whoever there was, they're not an idiot anymore. Suddenly they're, a genius in my eyes. Anyway, so I'm always asked, what's the astrology for Valentine's Day, 14th of February? So I had a look. Okay, we do have a conjunction of 2 planets, which could be quite nice. So it's Venus going conjunct Neptune. This puts a very lovely rose-coloured spectacle, beautiful glitter, frost, candles, romantic music, but it's not very realistic. It's more sort of in your imagination, in your dreams. There is a potential to be caught up in this blissful fusion, this beautiful euphoric background music. Okay, why not? Grab a hold of that one and, go for it, The tinsel is there, the magic is there. Dance with that tune. Why not? However, at the same time, the sun is going conjunct Saturn. Well, Saturn is the Grim Reaper, right? So Saturn is the grim head teacher, a really stern head teacher of a girls' boarding school, one of these moms who is like, whoa, really, and single and very sort of disciplinarian and all the rest of it. So the last thing we want is somebody like that standing over us and making us feel quite on Valentine's Day. The fact it's the sun going conjunct Saturn gives me some sort of, the sun can never be a negative planet. It's always a positive planet. So let's put a good spin on this. This could be okay. It could be. Would I choose the astrology of that day to have Valentine's Day on? Not on your Nelly. No way. There's just no way. However, it's what we've got. So, all right then. Buy flowers. Music. That'll be nice. Music, actually, is quite a good idea. Music should sound very nice on that day. I'd forgotten about music, and it's suddenly come to me. So where did that come from? You see, I'm psychic as well. So music's the thing. There we go. Okay, that's good. The fact that we've got all the planets on one side of the sky, as I said before, means that as it goes round, we're getting this empty sky effect and then its full sky effect during the day. It really just enhances a feeling of being in a foreign land, being unable to connect. And as I say, we will feel the loss of what we feel as interpersonal, friendly, loving, natural interaction. Oh well. Now, what's the good news? Well, here's something that you can really do well in February, and I probably say this every year, and you're going to tell me, you're going to say, write a book, get on with your website, do all your tech stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Do all your tech stuff, write a book, get on with your website, do all the stuff that is to do with communication, writing, tech, all that kind of thing. Just sit there and slog your way through it. And it's the right atmosphere to do it. It's the right environment. So I'm kind of thinking, there's always a time for everything, isn't there? It's also a time for getting things into straight lines. So like really organizing stuff. So give all that sort of thing a go, hey? When we come to next month, things are on the up. And so I promise you, if you come back again, I will give you a better reading of the planets next month. Please forgive me for always being the doom and the bucket of cold water and all the rest of it. God, astrologers used to get their heads chopped off years ago if they did this sort of thing. So hopefully I'm going to escape that one. Okay, so I'll speak to you next month. Do have a reading with me. I always love to talk to you. Google my name, Alison Chester Lambert, and you will find my website. And I would love to have a reading with you, because otherwise it's all doom and gloom, isn't it? We might as well sit and have a coffee and a natter over your fabulous birth chart and stuff to come up and all that. Nice to speak to you. Okay, bye.
I absolutely adore her. I think Alison is one of the greatest things since sliced bread. Absolutely. Why don't you just tell it like it is? And what idiot wanted to put Valentine's Day in February? I just love it. I absolutely love it. I'll be back in just a minute with the final channel from the group. But before we do that, I want to tell you about what's coming up in February as far as our next event that's coming up for our 2 focus days. Hi, everybody. In the empowerment stream, the first 2 days of each month, we presented in January a very important course called the Animal Communication, where we really talked a lot about the animals. The group was able to bring us a different view of how that works and what some of the purpose of all of it is, and the important place that the animal kingdom plays in our lives. because we too, as humans, are actually part of the animal kingdom. So how we can communicate with the different levels of that was an important part of this, and they brought some very important things of that. Most of the time we were working with domesticated animals on the first day and all of the animals kingdom on the second day. But now we're going to take it even a step further, because now we're going to be talking about animal spirit communication. This is going to be in February on the 3rd and the 10th of the month here at espavo.org. And in this event, what we're going to be doing is working with the animals' higher selves, and in a much larger basis. They too, like us, are multidimensional and are perfect beings, hiding some of their perfection in all their dimensions. This is an opportunity for us to bring all of that together and to connect on a whole different level with the animal kingdom. We'll be able to use it not only with your domesticated animals, but with the whole process of the animal kingdom in general. Furthermore, there are many contracts that are made through the animal kingdom. Just like humans, they make contracts as well. Many of your animals have contracts to be with you right now, and even went to great lengths to find you and to connect with you. Now what we're going to be doing is talking about the history of those contracts, how they came to be, what they were meant to accomplish, and furthermore, how to make new ones, how to set energies so that you can make contracts with your animals right now. This is all coming up in February as part of it. If you missed the animal communication in January, you can still see it. It's available in the store at espavo.org, so you can go there at any time. In fact, if you can't make the live presentations on the 3rd and the 10th, you can watch it anytime thereafter, just like all of our events. The reality is 5 minutes after it goes live, you can watch it later. You can watch it right after it's done. You can watch it the next day. It doesn't make a lot of difference. It's all there for you. But in February, we're going to take this to a whole new level and work with the spirit-animal communication of the spirits themselves to be able to reach us at a higher level. We hope you come and join us for the first 2 days. And also, if you wish to join Lightmaster, you not only get those 2 days and the other 2 days from last month, but you get everything going forward. And furthermore, you also get 3 more days each month. Many times we'll continue talking about the subject that we're talking about the first 2 days, in this case, animal spirit communication. And other times we just focus on working with the Lightmasters and giving you things that you need for your work as well. Come join us. We're honored to be with you here in this way. This is the Empowerment Stream and the Lightmaster classes that we teach. Espavo, everybody. We'll see you there. Greetings, dear ones. I am the scientist of the heart. I join you today because humanity is at the precipice of something absolutely wonderful. We're not going to tell you it's going to be easy. It may not. This will be up to you. The collective of humanity will decide how this transition takes place, but there is a transition at hand that is something many of you have been dreaming about and waiting for some time. We've talked some time ago about the whole concept of the Eseoto. The Eseoto is a space of higher vibration, which you can go and actually live in for a time, to connect, to congregate, to bring together the higher vibrations of who you are as a spirit, and then return into your physical being and carry more of your spiritual aspects. We've also spoken quite a bit, dear ones, about the whole concept of physicality versus spirit. You are spirits pretending to be humans from our perspective, and yet most of the time only about 20% of your spirit is able to leak out at times when you're in joy, when you're in passion, when you're smiling, when you're laughing. Those are magical times indeed. And we've also mentioned that there are times coming where you're going to be able to increase that amount of spirituality that you carry in your own physical body every single moment. Those times are at hand. That's what this portal is all about. The portal that is coming to planet Earth will be landing in full on March 24th of this year. It will remain here and in use until August 27th if it closes at all. And we say that because this is an opportunity to leave it open, to permanently live in a place where you can gather more of your own perfection. So what does that really look like? Well, there's so much to this, dear ones. This is where you get to perfect the aspect and the experience of being a human, where you get to actually bring more of your spirit through every moment of every day. It is time, and you've made it this far. Welcome home. Now, there are many times when you open these doors and there's great resistance in the collective vibration of humanity. The reality is, dear ones, that humans don't like change. They like everything to be on the status quo. You call that successful. And yet the status quo is not so great, as you're finding out. It's rather empty in most places. Well, now you have the opportunity to step and carry more of your spirit every moment. Can you imagine what it is like when you walk down the street and you're actually able to make connections only with a quick glance and see people the way they really are? That is something that's ahead for all of you. And there'll be many who choose not to do that. There'll be many who are afraid to do that. There'll be many who would rather hide than to step forward and actually be the spirit that they truly are. There's no right or wrong about any of it, dear ones. But let us explain the bigger aspect of this. In the multidimensional world in which you live, we find it fascinating that there are movies coming out every day. One of them is actually winning awards like crazy right now. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is all about multidimensionality, the way that we have described it. About having the spirit having multiple experiences as one spirit, as you, in different settings, in different opportunities, working out different contracts, working with different aspects of who you are. And all of it is about evolving yourselves in magical ways. Now, there's many aspects of this. If you take a big circle and you say, okay, over here on this side, I am this person, off to the right, and off to the left, I'm a different person. And in reality, you may have different belief systems. Now, they're not right or wrong. They're just different experiences that you're having. And if you start to see yourself this way, walking down the street and seeing people of different beliefs will help to open your doors, help to open your ability to communicate and your tolerance of all of humanity, which is something we're going to be working on when we work on these human lessons. We're going to be bringing you opportunities to evolve yourself very simply so that you can hold this portal open permanently. It's a magical time to be here. So what do we mean by that exactly? Well, when you come to Earth, there is one rule. You have stepped out of infinity and into finiteness. And being a finite individual, you cannot be perfect. Your whole spirit does not fit in that body. Very simple. So you know internally that you're perfect. You know intrinsically that you're a perfect being. And yet you're having difficulty reflecting that in the world around you many times. You don't see that in the mirror of other people's reaction to you. And yet you are. It's because when you came in, you divided up into 11 different aspects. And those aspects have a certain amount of your perfection. And if we lose the concepts of right and wrong for a little bit, you can see this from the larger perspective, which is absolutely magical. For instance, let's say that over here on one side of your experience, you're a very religious person, and you found great empowerment through a belief system that involves a religion. Over on the opposite side of that same circle, you may be an atheist. Well, the interesting part about that is neither one is neither right or wrong. And if you become empowered as an atheist and become empowered As a religious person, you become empowered, plain and simple. You are creator beings, dear ones. There's no right or wrong about what it is, as long as you're moving toward carrying more of your spirit. That's the beautiful aspect of all of this. So this portal opens doors for you to connect with other parts of yourself. And in that aspect, you become more of a perfect being. Now, there are many belief systems, experiences, other scar tissue that you've had from not only your past life experiences, but even previous life experiences that you've carried into this lifetime that keep you from being perfect beings. Sometimes you react, sometimes you overreact. That is absolutely natural and not to be judged. But what we tell you is you have an opportunity now to step much higher into a level of perfection, especially during these magical times of March 24th through August 27th. Now, what happens, dear ones, when you don't? What happens if the planet falls into fear, which is the big challenge? That is the other aspect of love. If you take the opposite of love, it is not hate, dear ones, it's fear. And that usually causes all the other negative emotions around it. Almost all negative emotions are fear-based in some form. It's a beautiful time to step forward into this and see it from a different perspective. That's what the portal's about. Now, you've had many portals on planet Earth. You've seen them from time to time. There are magical spaces that exist even sometimes in your own backyard. And when you go there, you feel wonderful, you feel connected. Well, that's sort of a portal in many ways. What we tell you about it is many times that is a vortex. And what is a vortex actually? It's a spiral, swirling energy, is it not? And when that vortex is nurtured and created, it can actually turn into a portal. A portal into what, you ask? Well, we tell you, a portal into your own other dimensions, into your own perfection. Now, we've given you a couple of illustrations of opposites because humans see through contrast, and it's easy to point that out this way. But we also tell you most of you won't go into complete opposites when you open these doors in this portal. Sometimes, instead of finding the opposite of where you are, because that takes a lot off of your own belief systems, and the bodysuits that you're wearing carry those belief systems. We'll talk much more about the bodysuits because they're not a bad thing, dear ones, and they're not your physical body. They're your emotional general body that you work with every single day. You have to put on a bodysuit in order to play the game of pretending to be a human. It's almost like a game piece that you move around the board every time you roll the dice, every time you wake up in the morning. And at night, when you go to bed, you take off the bodysuit, put it on a nice little hanger, and let it air out during the evening, and then you go to sleep and rejuvenate your spirit. You wake up in the morning, you put back on the bodysuit. Only you go, wait, today I'm going into a different place. I want to wear a different bodysuit. I want to wear something really special today. So you put on a special bodysuit that contains maybe a little bit different belief systems, a little bit different vision of yourself. We'll talk a lot about these going forward because this is a time to perfect your experience of walking on Earth. Dear ones, you have reserved your space during this time. We tell you there is no one on planet Earth that is just taking up space. There is no one on planet Earth that doesn't have something important to do. Every single person here is here because they deserve to be here and they carry a piece of the puzzle that everyone needs. So what we're asking all of you to do is to bring that piece forward, to speak it, to talk about it, to dare to step into a different bodysuit, dare to see yourself as a little bit more perfect being that you truly are, to release some of the old limiting belief systems, some of the scar tissue from the past that you carry in your Taurus. Put it aside for the time being. You are creator beings. And everything that you can balance between your head and your heart will manifest in your world. Yes, you are a lucky girl if you say you are. It's that simple. Not easy, absolutely. And the biggest challenge about all of this, dear ones, is the fear that will take place. When these big changes take place, dear ones, there are many who are going to point fingers and say, this is your problem here, and these people and this group of energies over here are the problem that's causing for everyone on Earth. You have not recovered from COVID-19. You never will. That's not the idea. It pushed you out of the norm so that you could step into something new. And now you have that opportunity globally to be here at a time where things can change. So the big question many of you are asking, since you are all about contrast and you see things as up, down, good, bad, right, and wrong, what happens if you can't hold the portal open? What happens if it closes on August 27th? Well, it's pretty simple, dear ones. You simply open another one. This is the first huge portal that is taking place, and this took a lot of energy to build up to. This is not something that was foreseen or forlorn in any way. This is something that you created. By going through this energy and by helping to evolve yourself in different ways, you've stepped the whole collective vibration of humanity a little bit higher. Now, you may disagree with that. You can turn on your televisions or read your newspapers and see all sorts of negative energies that were not here even a few years ago. Yes, those are definite reactions to this raise in vibration. So what happens when the portal opens? Well, there'll be many who willingly and willfully step into it and use it and anchor it. And there'll be many who are very much afraid of it. Now, what is that going to mean? How is that going to work out? What's going to take place? Is the world going to go to war, or are you going to go to peace? Well, you are creator beings, dear ones. We're asking the same questions. That will be up to you entirely. But we tell you, you have enough light workers on planet Earth right now to hold this portal open permanently. All it takes is a good vision of yourself, the opportunity for you to see that this is an incredible opportunity that has been created by much of the negativity that's already taking place. There will be systems that don't make the change. Many of your systems were built for lower vibrational status. So as you step into higher vibrational realities, there's sometimes those systems will evolve, they'll change. Sometimes they will have cracks in them that have to be repaired and altered in some way to make it into the higher vibrations. Other times, certain systems will collapse, but you'll build new ones. You'll create opportunities to connect in so many ways. And those are the things we're going to ask you all to do right at the beginning of this, is to start stepping forward and connecting. Talk about it. Create opportunities to create a collective vibration that will move with you. That's the magic about it. Because you're not the only creator on planet Earth. We've told you many times, dear ones, the way we perceive you, you are God. But you're not the only God. And that's the whole idea of this. What you decide collectively will happen. So what takes place with the Earth herself? She has reached that 8 billion mark. We've talked about this for more than 2 years now. The 8 billion has happened. And she's making decisions too, but she's also multidimensional, the same as you. She has opportunities to step up and create a whole new place, a whole new opportunity for a new game, a whole new chance to do it again in magic. Now, this has happened before, dear ones. This is not the first experience you've had with this. Even what you call the days of Atlantis and the days prior to that of Lemuria were all opportunities to reach this. You came very, very close in Lemuria. Your hearts were open. You connected to each other. You could visibly see the vibrations of another being. And it was easy to harmonize because of that. Today, your veils are much thicker. Today, in this reality, you've decided to play the game in a much denser form. Well, you can still see it if you look. You can see those opportunities to connect to other people and to harmonize. And that's the biggest piece about it. Now, there are many who are going to gain attention. There are many who are going to try to gain money, fame, all the rest of it by pointing different places and telling you this is your problem and here's your problem over here. Just follow me. I know how to fix everything. Not true. The only person that can change this is you. You are incredible beings and you came with all the tools you need to do this. You have everything that you need, only to balance it with your thoughts and your feelings, your head and your heart. It's a magnetic connection, dear ones. It's a vibrational spiral. That's what it is. And in one way, you measure it, it comes out as electricity of the head, your thought patterns. And in another way, you measure the same spiral, and it comes out as the magnetism of your heart, your emotions, your feelings, your connections. Neither one of them hold all of the truth, but if you blend it together, you have an electromagnetic frequency, which is yours uniquely. And that's what you walk with every single day. We are watching with such great anticipation as you walk through these times. Yes, it can be difficult. Yes, there can be challenges, great challenges that may surface on planet Earth because of these changes that are now opening. But you also have the opportunity to land something new, something tremendous indeed. You are the greatest angels that have ever lived. To take off your wings and to have an experience on Earth at a critical time of the game playing out on planet Earth. That's you. You made it. We are so honored to be in your presence. For you are holding the blueprint of the future of everything that you've worked for. We also tell you, dear ones, that there have been many around you that have moved through certain small portals, what you call space beings, brothers of time-space. Many of you believe that you can point to the sky and tell which planet they are from and how they work and everything else. You come pretty close on most of these, but they're usually not actually from one of those planets. They're just another dimensional reality. And they've learned how to move through those portals. They've learned how to come and visit you. And although there are difficult challenges sometimes with them, you must understand that if they actually had the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to consciously move through portals, they could do all of humanity great harm. And they have not. Because they understood one great thing. They can come through here and they can view you. And they can even try to work with you in some ways. If they try to force an altercation, if they try to use their energy to change you, the game does not work. And you'll experience the same thing. Yes, there will be those who take this opening portal and try to use it for their own nefarious purposes. It's just a part of being human, dear ones. You see things as up, good, bad, right and wrong. There will be many who actually try to make money out of opening this portal. And we tell you, don't judge any of it. Just choose what is right for you. Choose the energies that empower you in some way. That's the idea. And if enough collective people on planet Earth do that during this time, that portal stays open. And when the portal stays open, dear ones, everyone, everywhere has an opportunity all at once to change, to alter and to step into this higher vibration that we've been speaking about forever. The Eseoto is at hand. It is a higher vibrational place that you've been able to visit. You've been able to do your meditations, your prayer, your connections, your activations. Feel that energy and then come back and bring it with you. What if you could live there? That is possible. Now that this portal is opening and we tell you it's just the beginning of it, it will take some time to really master the ability to move through the portal. For the time being, you'll move through the portal for a short time and then recess back. You'll gain things and ideas and concepts, and you'll come back and you'll bring them with you. Many times those things will be resisted because they represent change. Be patient with your fellow man, dear ones. Be tolerant, because you know you're speaking to other spirits who also have to change in the same way that you do. Love freely and openly as often as you can. There's much about that we're going to be working with. Relationships in all different areas will become incredibly important. And we hope to give you some new tools for that. Even sexuality will take on new energies, new opportunities, because it is a form of communication, dear ones, not just a physical urge. There's so much that's starting to open up. We can't wait to see what you do with it. Well done, dear ones. You have gone a very distant way in order to be here at this exact moment of time-space. You've created something magical. And now the portal's coming to open all of it up together so that you can see much more about it. To have the vision from home that you've always known about. In the back of your mind, you always knew this was here. Now you can actually walk into it. Not only can you walk into it, you can live there. Are you ready for a new game? It's begun. Come join. Step into it. Find the tools that you need to step into your own work. And all those of you who are teachers, please step forward and speak it. You are needed now more than you could possibly imagine. It's time to awaken from the dream completely. You've earned it. And with that, I leave you for the time being. Well done, each and every one of you. Know that you are making a difference. Some of you are actively out there teaching and talking and speaking, and some of you are holding this energy very quietly within. It matters not. You're part of a collective vibration. Well done. Well done indeed. And with that, I leave you now for a short time. Take this energy and run with it. Make something special and create the light from home on planet Earth. Every time you smile, every time you open your eyes, it's time. Welcome home. And with that, I leave you with 3 simple reminders to treat each other with the greatest of respect. For you're looking in the eyes of God. Nurture one another at every opportunity and help those around you to become empowered. Play well together. Aspavo, dear ones. I am the scientist of the heart, and I love you dearly. Aspavo, thank you for taking your power.